Dear students, welcome back. Have you ever thought, why do some people of ordinary means try to copy the rich? Is that a right thing to do? I don't think so. One should live within one's means. Otherwise, he or she will invite unnecessary problems, confusion, and anxieties in his or her life. That is the gist of the story that we shall read today. The Necklace, written by Guy de Maupassant. But before we read the story, let's know a little bit about the author. Guy de Maupassant was born on August 5, 1850 in France. He was a sweet young boy who had a knack for storytelling from a young age. He was one of the greatest French writers of the 19th century. He is most popular for his short stories, novels, and poetry. Many of his stories were written during the Franco-Prussian War of the 1870s. He describes the futility of wars and violence that take thousands of innocent lives. He was a representative of the naturalist school of writers. He depicts human lives often in pessimistic terms rather than an idealized version that the late 20th and early 21st century humans have plastered over their collective vision. Dear students, he wrote 300 short stories, 6 novels, 3 travel books, and 1 volume of verse. His first published story was Boule de Suif, also known as The Dumpling, is often considered his masterpiece. His famous short stories are The Piece of String, Two Friends, A Wedding Gift, The Blind Man, and many more. He is considered as one of the most indispensable authors of French literature. Students, now let me introduce you the main characters of this story. First one is Mathilda Loisel. Mathilda, she is a pretty young lady. She wanted to lead a rich and luxurious life, but she was born into a humble family and had to marry an ordinary man. She felt sad about her petty economic and social status. She is selfish as she wants everything. She whines and complains about her situation, and she also uses her husband's saved money for a dress. She is oblivious of everything but the wealth she does not have. She becomes hardworking and humble after the 10 arduous years that she spends paying off her debts. Next in line, we have Mr. Loisel. Mr. Loisel is a hardworking man who works as a clerk in the Ministry of Education. He loves his wife but does not understand her. He wants to please her and make sacrifices to give her the luxury that she craves. He is a simple man who is satisfied with his social standing in life. He has no aspirations to be among the aristocrats like his wife. He is content with his simple life. Mr. Loisel's generosity contrasts sharply with his wife's vanity and selfishness. He sacrifices his dream of buying a gun to go hunting with his friends to buy a new dress for Mathilda. He searches tirelessly for the necklace when it is lost, and he sacrifices his inheritance, his honor, and takes on an enormous amount of debt to replace it. This shows he loves his wife a lot, but the harsh truth is that he is manipulated by her. Another character in the story is Mrs. Forrester. She is a well-to-do friend of Mathilda's from her convent school days. She has a marvelous collection of jewelry and lets Mathilda borrow an expensive-looking necklace for the party. Matilda loses and replaces the necklace, but Mrs. Forestier does not notice the substitution, although she is annoyed that her friend took so long to return the jewelry. 10 years later, Mrs. Forestier barely recognizes Matilda when they run into each other on the Champs-Élysées and is dismayed to inform her that the necklace that Matilda sacrificed 10 years of her life to replace was in fact not real. The fact that Mrs. Forestier owns a fake necklace despite being wealthy enough to afford a real one shows that she understands the illusory nature of class and status. Students, now let us delve deep into this story. The story revolves around Matilda, who was a pretty young lady. It seems that by an error of destiny, she was born in the family of clerks. She had no hope of marrying a rich and an important person. Hence, she married a petty clerk. Matilda was simple but unhappy. She was pained at her miserable condition. She thought that she was born for all delicacies and luxuries of the world. Her petty economic and social status tortured and angered her. She loved only marvelous dishes, nice frocks, and jewels. One day, Mr. Loisel gave Matilda a printed card. It was an invitation to dinner organized by the Minister of Public Instruction where her husband worked. He had hoped that his wife would be delighted to receive such an invitation. But his wife threw the invitation upon the table with contempt. She was impatient and complained that she had nothing to wear on such a great occasion. She told him that she couldn't go there without a proper dress. He should give his card to a colleague's wife who had a better dress than hers. He was pained to hear it. He asked what it would cost them to buy a good dress. She replied to 400 francs. He grew pale. He had saved 400 francs to buy a gun for his hunting parties. The day of the ball came near. Her dress was ready, but she was pained to have such a poverty-stricken look. She was vexed not to have a jewel. Mr. Loisel suggested that she could wear some natural flowers. She replied no. It was humiliating for her to give a shabby image of her among the rich ladies. Then an idea came to Mr. Loisel. He asked her to borrow jewels from her friend, Madame Forestier. She uttered a cry of joy. She had not thought of it before. Madame Forestier heard her story of distress and she opened her jewel case, asked her to choose any one item she liked. Matilda's eyes fell on a superb necklace of diamonds. Her friend willingly agreed to lend that to her. She was overjoyed and went away with the diamond necklace. The night of the ball arrived, and Matilda was happy at the occasion. She looked very beautiful in the dress. Everyone liked her, and she was absolutely thrilled. She and her husband did not leave until 4 a.m. Then they caught a cab and returned home. When she returned home and was changing her dress, Matilda wanted to see her beauty in final view before the mirror. Suddenly, she noticed that the necklace was not around her neck. She was shocked to see that her necklace had got lost. She cried out and informed her husband that she had lost the necklace. Her husband searched for the necklace on every place where they went last night. He went to the police and the cab offices. He also put an advertisement in the newspapers, but the necklace was not found. So he advised his wife to write a letter to her friend telling her that she needed some time to get the necklace repaired. At last, Matilda decided to replace the necklace with a necklace that looked similar to it. It was valued at 36,000 francs. Her husband gave her 18,000 francs, which his father had left for him. He took a loan of the remaining amount and purchased a diamond necklace for 36,000 francs. She returned the necklace to her friend. Buying the necklace brought the Loisels in poverty. They lost their home, their maid, their comfortable lifestyle, and on top of it all, Matilda lost her good-looking face. She washed the dishes and linen. She did all the household work. They rented a room in the attic. Mr. Loisel worked in the evening at some merchant's office. He did copying at 5 sous a page at night. At the end of 10 years, they paid all their debts. She realized that a necklace had changed their lives. One day, Mrs. Loisel happened to meet Madame Forestier taking a walk in the famous Champs-Élysées street of Paris. Madame Forestier didn't recognize her friend. She had changed completely. Matilda confessed that she had hard days because of that necklace. Madame Forestier remembered the necklace she had given to her, but she reminded Matilda that she had already returned that necklace. Then Mrs. Loisel told the whole story. She also told how they suffered to replace her lost necklace. Their whole life was changed. It became miserable due to that diamond necklace. Madame Forestier showed sympathy and replied, "Oh, my poor Matilda, my necklace was false." They were false and not over 500 francs. So, Matilda's pride and her materialistic aspirations, coupled with her dishonesty, paved the way for her ruin. She could have avoided it by learning to accept her current situation and being content with what she had. The day of the ball came near. Her dress was ready, but she was pained to have such a poverty-stricken look. She was vexed not to have a jewel. Mr. Loisel suggested that she could wear some natural flowers. She replied no, it was humiliating for her to give a shabby image of her among the rich ladies. Then an idea came to Mr. Loisel. He asked her to borrow jewels from her friend, Madame Forestier. She uttered a cry of joy. She had not thought of it before. Madame Forestier heard her story of distress and she opened her jewel case, asked her to choose any one item she liked. Matilda's eyes fell on a superb necklace of diamonds. Her friend willingly agreed to lend that to her. She was overjoyed and went away with the diamond necklace. Students, now let us see what is the message of the story. First one is, we should learn to live according to our circumstances. Matilda was very beautiful, but she was not contented. That's why she was always depressed. She did not enjoy her household life and food. When her husband praised the food, she thought of elegant dinners. No doubt, we should have high ideas, but we should cut our coat according to our cloth. The second lesson is that we always suffer if we try to get happiness through borrowed things. Shakespeare was right when he said that neither a borrower nor a lender be. Matilda should not have borrowed the necklace from her friend. In this way, she should have been saved from her tragedy. The third lesson is that we should always tell the truth. Truth always saves us. By telling a lie, we invite sufferings and misfortune. When Matilda lost the necklace, she should have told Mrs. Forestier about that. However, Loisels told a lie and suffered for 10 long years. In the end, they found out that they did not have anything to be proud of. The necklace was not real, and their struggle was just useless. What a pity. So students, with this we have come to the end of the video. I hope you all would have enjoyed it. That's all for today. Thank you so much.